Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Alex Evans.
And today we're reviewing Legendary Encounters Matrix.
That's it.
Now the movies, you have seen the movies, correct?
I have seen the movies, but a very long time ago.
Right.
So they're not fresh on my brain.
Me either, and I have not watched them again because I'm afraid they do not hold up.
Really? And they even made a remake recently, like a couple of years
did.
ago, right? I haven't seen that. I have not seen the remake, but I've seen the original. It was a trilogy, right?
It was a trilogy.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yes. So I will watch it again. So
Yeah.
speaking of holding up, we're going to see if this holds up. If the Legendary Encounters system holds up with the Matrix.
Ooh,
Because
these are good questions.
You do like Legendary Encounters, right?
I love Legendary Encounters, correct.
Okay, so now we're going to go through a quick differences on this, but we're not going to really touch into how to play Legendary Encounters, the system, because there's a lot of videos here on the channel for that.
Correct.
But here are just a few of the differences with the Matrix, and we'll tell you what we thought about it.
All right.
That's the
You
Matrix
need to do
thing.
those, like, things.
Things? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
like come through on the screen. That's going to be a lot, right?
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. No, sorry. My bad.
Okay, we are set up for a game of Legendary Encounters Matrix right now. I'm not going to go deep into the Legendary Encounters system. There's a lot of videos here on the channel that kind of teach you the Legendary Encounters system. This is going to be mainly about the differences. But briefly, Legendary Encounters is a deck building game. You're going to start off with a deck of cards, and this symbol here, you can use that to attack or scan. And these right here, that is buying points where you can recruit from this row. And the attacking, which is what this right here, is how you can attack people that come across the board up here. Or you can scan, because what's going to happen is they're going to come out just like this, face down. And then in order to reveal it, you have to use 4 hits to scan. And that will then flip over and you can see who it is, and you're going to go just like this. Now, one other thing here is there is an event. If an event comes out, you're going to do what it says. This says subtract 1 from the time track. If this was revealed in the combat zone, subtract another 2. So if I let this go all the way here, and then from here it goes into the combat zone, and it reveals, then it's going to attack. It's going to reduce 1 more from the time track than just the 1, and it's going to go down quicker. Now, what is the time track? Well, that is going to go into the differences between Legendary Encounters Matrix and the other ones. So we're going to go through that in a moment. But now the acts are right here. I'm not going to reveal these because this is kind of the fun of experiencing these yourself. You're going to start off Act 1, Part 1. On the back is Act 1, Part 2. And you're going to go through the acts, and the deck is set up the same way. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And the deck also ends with an inevitable card right here. That is going to happen at the end. Okay, and you are going to go ahead and play through all 3 movies in here. This is set up right now for the first movie, and that is The Matrix, and the other 2 movies are in there as well. The 4th one's not in this. And then also when you get to Act 3, you're going to have the option to go a major or minor victory. Minor if you just want to go and end it and win, air quotes, or you can go for the major victory and go all the way for the big win, which is going to be more difficult. Now let's go into some of the differences between them. First off, everyone's going to have a residual self-image. This is right here. So I've got Neo here, and I've got Trinity over here. Now you're going to notice these telephones right here. This is the main difference in Legendary Encounters Matrix and the other ones. This is how you're going to get in and out of the Matrix. If this is sitting here on my avatar, everyone gets an avatar card that's going to give them a special ability. If it's sitting here in front of me, I am in the real world. And if I'm here, I am in the Matrix. So you can go back and forth. You do get a free movement into the Matrix. So you can go into the Matrix. However, to get out of the Matrix, you need to use one of these phones. Now, the phones get difficult. These are free phones. If they're available, you can use these. But if a card is covering this up, so say these are all filled, you cannot use this phone. If both of these are covered up, then neither phone is available to use, and you have to use this phone right here, which also costs 3 recruit points or 3 stars. Now, if there's 3 in the combat zone, then you cannot use that phone either. So there's a chance that this phone, and this phone could be, I guess, covered up and unavailable to you, so you cannot get out of the Matrix. You can always go into the Matrix, you cannot always get out unless you use a phone. Now, why does that matter? Well, first off, if I'm in the real world, that is where I can recruit. That is where I can recruit any of these. And if I'm in the matrix, that is where I can attack or scan. So you need to move in here to start affecting all these guys. You have to be out here to start building your deck. So that is the way you go in and out of the matrix. One other thing is if there's somebody here in the combat zone, for example, well, that's an event. Hold on. If there is this guy right here in the combat zone, then she is going to attack. If you're in the matrix, then you're going to draw a strike, just like you would in a normal matrix, or sorry, in a normal legendary encounters. But if you are here in the real world, then she's going to subtract 1 from your time track. If this gets to 0, you lose. And one other thing is there are some extra cards that are set over here, and they actually say extra at the bottom. And these cards will go into the deck whenever this tells you to. So this is a kind of way that you can power up as you go through the acts. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, you will be getting more and more powerful. It seems like it's going to be harder and harder, but you will get more and more powerful through these. And also, your avatar has got abilities right here. And then on the back, you've got different abilities for Act 2 and Act 3, or like Trinity has all of hers on the front. And you've also got your hit points here. So the way to lose this game is by getting enough strikes, which are right here, and getting us enough strikes to exceed your maximum hit points there, or to get the time track to 0. And if that happens, you lose the game, and every act will tell you how to win that act and how to win the game. So those are some of the differences, so let's send it back and see what we thought about it. Okay, so that was it. That was pretty much a lot of the new things that come out with Legendary Matrix.
Yep.
The biggest difference is going to be the phone, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Correct.
All right, but now first off, let's talk about this Legendary Encounters, the system. These guys are all about theme.
My goodness, yes.
When you go into Legendary Encounters, it is like they all just drip with theme. Does this achieve that theme for you?
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing I love. I love how it's such a thematic deck builder. You're like, I'm just playing and building my deck of cards. How thematic can it be? A lot. It is amazing how much you can just get absorbed into the IP, whichever Legendary Encounter you are playing.
Right.
Just by building your deck of cards. They do such a phenomenal job at that.
They really do. And it amazes you how much you can go into theme with just a deck of cards.
I find that they do such a great, it's staggering how just a deck of cards can drip with theme, but they do it.
They do, because otherwise a dungeon crawl, things like that, it's easy to get into theme. You can make all the artwork through the entire page, or the board and all that.
You can have minis, you can have whatever, but
right.
You're going solely off a deck of cards, and it's great.
Yeah, which is really good. Now, artwork-wise, artwork is always, with Legendary Encounters, it's always going to be the linchpin that people love or hate. This artwork is different. I didn't show a lot. Here's some screenshots of it, but it's different because they're not screen caps.
No.
And some people might be bothered that like Neo doesn't look anything like Keanu Reeves.
Correct. Yes.
So, and a lot of times the artwork styles are different depending on the card.
Correct. But I still enjoyed it, and I still felt like the artwork lent to what that card was wanting you to do, or whatever you were trying to do. I didn't hate the artwork at all.
No.
By no means. I thought the artwork was good.
No, I didn't either. And it's just interesting. So also you have the avatars, where I do like the extra abilities they have, and they almost power up by acts.
Absolutely, yes.
And more powerful as they go through acts.
And I was going to say they're also very thematic too. So whatever character you're playing, it's still thematic to the movie of what avatar you have.
It is, and I do like the minor versus major victories. So the minor is normally easier to achieve. You can kind of get to the minor victory if you just kind of go through the game. Well, it's still easy to lose. But in the major victories where you get at the end, you're like, am I going to push to win this all the way? And those are usually very, very difficult.
Correct, yes.
So that right there is big. And also the replayability, there's 3 movies in there. The 4th one's not in there. But you can also rebuild that Zion deck.
Absolutely,
and you can kind of build that how you want to do it and go through the movies. Now, let's go to the phone. The phone is the biggest thing about getting back and forth in the Matrix. At first, when I first heard about it, I thought it seems very gimmicky. But it actually really does work.
It almost makes the game like stressful, but in a good way, like thematic stress. You're like, if we don't do this, it's going to cover that phone. Are we going to be able to get out? Are we going to escape? It adds that stress of like you're playing the movie with the deck you've created, all because of that phone. It's great.
There's that theme that grabs you that you're kind of like, I'm stuck. It's like, hey, like at one point I'm inside. I'm like, you got to get in this matrix and help me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, or you got to get out here. And it's really interesting because those strikes that happen, you'll be getting strikes inside the matrix, and otherwise they're gonna hit that time track. So you have to go in there and be that bullet shield. You're like, I don't have the hit points to get in there and take these hits.
Yeah.
So many decisions come through, and also be able to get those phones, make sure they're available, and go in and out. That really, really works with this.
Absolutely. One thing I also really like too is I think it's necessary to have, when you're building your deck of cards, to have the cards that allow you to cooperate.
Coordinate.
Coordinate. Yes, coordinate. And then as well as that, also you've got your set collection too, like the symbols. You need those as well as you're building your deck of cards too, because those are really important to have.
They are.
If one player has the coordinate and the other player doesn't, it's kind of a bit of a bummer.
Yes. So
everybody needs to kind of be equal in that kind of...
Because it does help to be able to help each other and go forward and things like that.
Yes.
And there's also little things that are going to show up on the different act cards, front and back, that I don't want to mention. I don't want to spoil a lot of this.
Yes.
Because it also has those moments where you're kind of like, wow, that's exactly it. And the way Neo, when he finally discovers everything, he gets so much more powerful, and those extra cards get shuffled in. You're like, yeah, let's bring it now. I really like that.
Absolutely.
Now, ranking this wise, I like this game a lot.
Me too.
I think I'd probably put it right underneath Alien for me. So Alien is probably my number one, and this one is my number two. So number-wise, what are you going to come in at with Legendary Encounters Matrix?
I'm going to give this 7.5.
7.5. All right, I see that, and I'm actually going to come in a bit higher at an 8 with this, and I can actually see this climbing higher the more I play it.
Me too. I feel like that too. Yeah, it's just, this was a fun game. I love, every time I sit down to play a Legendary Encounter, I have a great time, and this game was no exception. I really, really enjoyed it.
I do too, and I love the way the mat is in there. Legendary Encounter system, this does have the same difficulty as far as the reset and getting the cards back and forth, but it's not that bad.
No.
I mean, I honestly just separated the cards out. They're marked very clearly on the bottom, how you can divide those decks up, get out there, and pull it out again and run it back with a different movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you like the Legendary Encounters system, or if you like the Matrix movies, this is great.
This is a great game for you to play. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you will really, really like this.
I also think if you like the deck building games, and thematic games, I think this is going to be a great game for if you like just those things and haven't played any of the other Legendary Encounters. I still think you're going to enjoy this.
Exactly. All right, so thanks so much, and go out there and do some Legendary Encounters Matrix.
Woo.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Alex Evans.
Into the Matrix now.